Sleep. That blissful, elusive state where we escape the relentless barrage of modern life, only to be tormented by our own subconscious in the form of bizarre dreams and night sweats. In today's world, we're constantly bombarded with advice from so-called sleep experts, telling us how to achieve the perfect night's rest.
Some of them causal links to a lack of sleep. That list includes cancer, Alzheimer's disease, diabetes, depression, cardiovascular disease, stroke. So
it's almost as if these sleep gurus are capitalizing on our collective anxiety at not getting enough sleep. They preach the gospel of 8 hours a night as if it's some sort of magical elixir that will cure us of all our ills. It's not as if sleeping is something people have been doing since the dawn of humanity. How hard can it be, laying down and doing nothing for 8 hours? From the caveman snoozing in their cave to the great minds of the Renaissance, catching some shut-eye, people throughout history have managed to sleep one way or another. And they did it without memory foam mattresses, blackout curtains, while piping in white noise and logging into their sleep app on their phones. Sleeping throughout history. That's what we're going to look at now. So fluff up your pillows and grab your teddy bear, because it's time to embark on a journey into the land of Nod. We start in ancient Egypt, a land of sun, sand, biblical plagues. Ancient Egyptians, as it turned out, were a bunch of masochists who slept with their heads on this for a pillow. They soaked their blankets in water and believed their souls could wander off during the night. They had a thing for dreaming, which they thought was a way of communicating with the gods, the dead, and their own subconscious. They even had special temples where they could go and sleep on demand, hoping to get some divine guidance or healing from their dreams. Of course, not everyone could afford such luxury. Most people had to work hard in the fields, the workshops, or building great big triangles, and sleep had to be squeezed in whenever they could. They had to deal with the usual annoyances of sleeping in a hot, dusty, and noisy environment, dealing with swarms of flies and insects. To deal with this, they had rituals like lighting incense, wearing amulets, and reciting incantations. Kind of like me praying my children will go to sleep and not wake me up at 4:30 in the morning. Ancient Egyptian sleep habits were a mix of superstition, ritual, and practicality. They were a reflection of their culture, which was obsessed with death, the afterlife, and the supernatural. And you thought your dreams were weird.
Mommy, why can't Jesse wake up like everybody else?
We all struggle to get up. It turns out emperors are no different. The mighty emperor Marcus Aurelius hated it. He woke up with a groan, his aging limbs creaking like a rusty gate as he stirred. The weight of an empire rested heavily on his shoulders. He rubbed his bleary eyes and sighed. Another day, another denarius. Time to rise and shine and run this blasted empire again. The barbarian hordes aren't going to vanquish themselves. He peeled back the covers and swung his legs out of the bed, feet slapping on the cold marble floor. His joints popped and cracked in protest. His back ached like buggery. Frankly, he'd rather stay in bed, let the Praetorian Guard run things for a bit. But no, duty calls. Responsibility weighs heavier than any duvet. Time for another thrilling day at the office, sorting out squabbles and repelling invasions. The life of an emperor is hard work indeed. If only he could retire. Sod this for a game of soldiers. But still, duty calls. Duty always bloody calls. With a world-weary sigh, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, squared his shoulders, gritted his teeth, and prepared to face the day. You might say he was rather stoic about the whole thing. Now, if you think your modern sleep routine is challenging, just wait until you hear about the sleeping conditions of our medieval counterparts. No plush mattresses and ergonomic pillows. In their place, we find hay-stuffed sacks and wooden headrests that would make even the most seasoned chiropractor cringe. It was a time when comfort took a backseat to survival, and restful sleep was as elusive as the Holy Grail itself.
What is happening to me?
Medieval people slept very differently from how we sleep today. They usually slept in 2 sessions of 4 hours each, with a break in between, where they would do other activities such as prayer, reading, gossiping with the neighbours. This was known as biphasic sleep, or the 2 sleeps habit. Why did they do this? Well, partly because there wasn't an episode of 90 Day Fiancé to watch, and partly because they didn't have artificial lighting to keep them awake past sunset. Sleeping was a communal activity in medieval times. You would often share your bed with your entire family, or even strangers if you were travelling. There was no privacy, no comfort, and no hygiene. You would have to endure the snoring, farting, scratching and groping of your bedfellows. 2 sleeps were soon put to an end, when everyone had to go to work every hour of their waking lives. Before that though, let's take a trip to France. We move on to the Palace of Versailles in the 18th century. Marie Antoinette was a party girl who loved dancing and socialising with her friends. She often planned and attended innumerable dances, sometimes at the expense of her royal duties. Her husband, Louis XVI, on the other hand, was a homebody. He preferred hunting and reading to mingling with the courtiers. He usually went to bed at 11 p.m, which was considered early by the standards of revolutionary France. Marie Antoinette, she wanted to stay up later and have some fun. She played a trick on her unsuspecting husband to get out of the door sooner. She used to set the clocks back, so Louis went to bed early without realising. Then she sneaked out of the bedroom. She joined her guests in dancing and drinking. Fun while it lasts, until the revolution came along, and then both seemed to lose their heads. Dragging yourself from the warm cocoon of your bed is often a Herculean task, akin to wrestling a greased-up eel while wearing oven gloves. The alarm is a piercing shriek of reality, a stark reminder that the world outside your duvet is a harsh and unyielding place. What did people do before alarm clocks? Enter the knocker-upper. These forgotten heroes of the pre-alarm clock era and the Industrial Revolution. Picture the crack of dawn, the world cloaked in darkness, and these industrious souls venturing forth on their noble mission, and a whacking great long stick. Armed with sticks and poles, they tapped on windows and tossed pebbles, rousing the slumbering masses from their cosy beds. Punctuality was their art, as they memorised the schedules to deliver timely wake-up calls throughout entire neighbourhoods. These human alarm clocks ensured that latecomers didn't risk losing their jobs and wages. They were paid peanuts to do this shitty job in the dark, cold streets, whatever the weather. They annoyed everyone with their tippy-tapping, and presumably had to find someone to wake them up too. In the 20th century, Thomas Edison held some rather unfashionable views on sleep. The prolific pioneer of progress believed slumber was for the slovenly and saw it as little more than an obstacle on the path to productivity. In Edison's eyes, sleep was a lamentable waste of time, vitality, and opportunity. The inventor himself claimed to subsist on a meagre 4 hours of shut-eye a night, regarding anything more as a pointless excess. No doubt Edison saw sleep as yet another rival to vanquish in his tireless quest to improve the human condition through technology. And vanquish it he did. By conjuring electric light from the ether, Edison enabled humanity to banish the night as a flick of a switch. Darkness no longer dictated our waking hours. We were no longer obliged to snuff out candles and go to bed when the sun slipped below the horizon. Thanks to Edison, the day never truly ended. Yet, in liberating us from our diurnal rhythms that had governed our lives for eons, Edison also disrupted our circadian clocks and natural sleep-wake cycles. The soft glow of the incandescent light bulb and their digital descendants now pollute the night, suppressing melatonin and making it harder to nod off. Insomnia, once a rarity, has become a modern plague. So while Edison saw sleep as an adversary to overcome in the name of progress, his most famous invention has subjected us to the cruel and unusual punishment of sleep deprivation and insomnia. And so, we arrive in the present day, where sleep has become coveted and elusive. We understand the importance of sleep, yet modern life seems designed to disrupt it at every turn. Our bedrooms have become multi-purpose entertainment hubs, with glowing screens and buzzing devices keeping our minds engaged until the small hours. The concept of a single lengthy uninterrupted slumber seems quaint and old-fashioned. Instead, we snatch sleep in fitful bursts, catnapping on public transport or stealing a few minutes propped up against the wall during our lunch break. We dose up on caffeine and push through, embracing the delusion that rest is for the weak. Sleep has become a luxury, not a necessity. The history of sleep is one of gradual retreat from the darkness and into the light. Yet, our bodies and minds crave those lost hours of rest. We self-medicate and seek solace in a sea of tips, tricks and life hacks, each promising to unlock the secret to a perfect night's sleep. But deep down we know the truth. We have become estranged from our most natural state of all, blissful sleep.